NASA says Artemis II is humanity's next giant leap. But what if that's not the full story? In this episode, Gene Decode, a Navy veteran with deep-level insight, reveals intel shared in real time. Information so sensitive, most people weren't ready to hear it. What was hidden? Why now? And what Artemis II really represents starts here.
Coming back now to the infamous Apollo moon landing. We talk about timeline. In our current timeline, Gene, you might share, all right, your perspective from my investigation and with discussion with my group. This did not occur in our current timeline. Now we do have this. NASA names astronauts to next moon mission. All right. When there's an LOC, so Lunar Operation Command on the Moon, all right, and other topics related to this, you won't see this article as really pure and legit. All right. So I'm going to invite Gene to share his knowledge and experience, all right, regarding that topic on NASA and their moon mission, knowing there's more to it. So you may go ahead, Gene.
So originally, humanity, as it was, as I was speaking about Urantia, we came in 7 primary colors. So black, blue, green, orange, red, yellow, etc. And all of them had O positive blood, which has all of the blocks from doing chimera kind of things to humans. So if you look at African Americans or African people, over half of them have O positive. That's because that goes back to the original, what humanity was. So all of these 4 individuals are, if you look at white people, we're actually in any species on Earth, mammalian, there's about 8, depending on the species, we'll average about for all the species, 8% are albino. What you have is selective breeding, where you have a global elite, that satanic elite, that feel that white is the chosen, so to speak. And so they've caused humans to get that thought, and they selected the breeding of humans and had us do it as well, to where there's more white than there are others. But originally we were a combined group of that manifested in any child's family, or you'd have children, grandchildren, etc. You'd have children of different color. Some would be white, some would be blue, green, etc. And so what this is to help return the original genome to the moon and out into space. Of all of those 4 individuals are actually have African American blood, and it's all very, very symbolic. It's called the Artemis II expedition. There were the Artemis Accords just recently on Jupiter, in which the Space Force, the Alliance, has come together to lock our system down and to keep the negative groups from coming in anymore. And so these are representatives to Artemis II, which is the Artemis I were the Accords. The Artemis II is individuals that are ambassadors, if you will, that have some of the original genomes. So, ones that are mostly African, ones that have each of these genomes that I'm speaking of different colored peoples within them. So Hansen, Glover, Weissman, and Koch. The names are, they having those names is selected as well, because they have meaning. If you learn, wise man, Koch, like Koch in wisdom, and Hansen to enhance, handsome, Glover, each name has a meaning. So they select people not just based on their skill set, their training, their knowledge, but even their names are very significant. And of course, the operation itself, Artemis II, and the symbol for Artemis II is all tied to the Space Force, which is all tied to the original Artemis Accords, which is tied to the Alliance, and all of this, what it is doing. So the Alliance is now organizing and, setting up this situation, and it's all to organize a group of ambassadors to help represent the peoples of Earth.
Coming up, Taino and Gene Decode explore what's known as D.E.W, aka Directed Energy Weapon.
And my friend and I, 2 months ago, we talked about the earthquake that occurred at Turkey, all right, which was caused by a malevolent organization and by scalar weapon, all right. So I did request Gene to share, all right, some key information regarding direct energy weapons and or scalar technology. You may go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, so there's a host of directed energy weapons, from the regular particle beam, which is an energy weapon using particles. That's usually what they made directed energy weapon. Most people think of particles, where you have, like, it could be, though, an energy wave, like a microwave, what they used to create the earthquake in Turkey. So they joined BRICS, and they were, moving away from the West, so the West punished them. And they have these different technologies. The Space Force has, for example, a directed energy weapon of a torsion field, but it creates a Merkabit Birkeland rotating current system that can twist a ship in space like a pretzel and tear it apart even. Then you have weapons like, I went into another interview from the weapon that they got out, the Wagner group got out of Bakhmut, in a dome in Bakhmut, that was storing male energy for millions of years, and it charges these small weapons, and it makes people, like in Kingsman, where they go insane and get berserky and kill each other from the male energy, and they got that discharged into the Van Allen belts. And so everybody got very aggressive for a while. It's like a sugar crash, where you give your kids candy on Halloween and they all run around the living room like crazy, yelling and screaming, and then an hour later they're unconscious on the floor. They've crashed, sugar crash. So this weapon is now discharged, and all of that energy high. A lot of people may be feeling depressed or low or tired. It's because that energy is now gone into the Earth, and the Earth is moderating it through all the plants and everything, so it'll be balanced everything out. But in the meantime, all the animals have already dropped it in, grounded it into the Earth. So people have that charge, and now it's been dropped. You also have energy weapons that can open portals to parallels, all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of directed energy weapons that people don't always think. An energy weapon that literally is an anti-energy weapon, for example, that drains energy. It creates a energy drain that it'll tear a portal open, is one way they can actually do it. So do weapons come in a variety that most people never even imagine exist.
And Gene, not exactly, but it's in the same context. Denver or Colorado, right? There was please correct me with the term, but there was actually a location in which electromagnetic waves were sent from a particular location in Colorado, right, to alter its decision. Does this, if what I'm stating now, Gene, does this ring a bell to you? Because I believe you did share a decode probably 2 years ago regarding this.
Yeah, so again, that's a type of energy weapon. Mm-hmm. There are several of these. For example, any part of a nuclear wave, whether it's the light flash or the the air flat, the air pressure wave, all of those can be rendered into a directed energy weapon. Even they have a way to chemically poison an electrical field. That's a directed energy weapon where an electrical field carries a chemical imprint on it so that you could get something from an electrical field. You could get a virus or something coming out of an electrical field. And those are all directed energy weapons.
Yeah. And personally, obviously, it's a tool. So any tool can be good for good intent for a benevolent result or the opposite. Personally, I did get an attack, all right, by this kind of, let's say, technology, but I'm okay. But yet, it's something that I did not see it coming, all right. So, Gene, since you do have more, let's say, years of experience, right, in this lifetime, would you mind stating the personal, I'm going to call it case study, in which people could study and increase their awareness regarding protection against, let's say, ill intent from malevolent organization or groups?
So there's a lot of ways that are very low tech. You can carry a space blanket, and if in a crinkly plastic empty water bottle, the ones that are really crinkly, small, empty, just with a lid on it, because when a particle weapon or a lot of directed energy weapons, an energy wave is coming at you, it creates a pressure in the atmosphere or a decrease in pressure, and that will cause the bottle to crinkle. And a lot of them can be reflected away with something as simple as a space blanket. You can just, get barefoot on the ground. That can help ground yourself. And then, during the time the bottle's crinkling, just put it on the outside of the blanket. You can listen to it get in the blanket. There's all kinds of ways to go in this, other than being able to do certain things like go interdimensional yourself. A lot of the Alpha Draco do that. They can avoid a nuclear blast, for example, by going interdimensional and moving forward in time or backwards in time to avoid the timing of the blast.